We're the Hidradenitis Suppuradivas. If you've got HS, you'll want to meet us. It's not your fault, put the shame to a halt. HS divas know how to have a ball. The Hidradenitis.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Hidradenitis Suppuradivas. I am joined today by Sid and Cara, both of whom are advocates with HS Connect. And today we are going to talk about what life is like being postpartum, which Sid, you're not too far out. And Cara, you're definitely not far out because there's a 10-day-old baby sitting over there. 18-day-old baby
He's
now?
18 now.
Oh, okay, I missed a few days.
He's a little busy.
But he's sitting over there. You can't see him, but he might make an appearance because he's waking up.
Yeah.
And looking to eat. So, so he may join us. So today we want to talk a little bit about what it's like to be postpartum with HS. We know that being pregnant with HS, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, sometimes there's no change. So what were both of your experiences like?
Let's let Cara go first since she's so fresh.
I'm so fresh.
So fresh and so clean.
So this is my second baby, and the pregnancies for both of them were completely different, and the postpartum experience is being completely different as well. With my daughter, who's 3, my HS went into like full remissive state for my whole pregnancy, and it was glorious and wonderful, and I got very hopeful that somehow it just made my HS disappear. And then I think it was 2 weeks into being postpartum, my HS came back worse than it ever had in my entire life. And I eventually got surgery, which helped. And then my journey with him, my HS stayed the same throughout my pregnancy in terms of severity, but it moved from my usual spots, which is under my breasts and in my groin, to on my legs, like shins, calf. I have a huge one right now on my hamstring, so the location changed, but it's not as bad postpartum as it was with my daughter previously, so I'm grateful for that.
And you passed that 2-week mark, so you're hopeful that
I'm hopeful, but also if it happens, I know I can get through it, because I got through it once, I'll get through it again.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sid?
That's so good. I think postpartum period is just a wreck. You know, our hormones are like crazy. So I can relate to that. I have 4 children. It's so crazy when you say that. It's like, how did I get here?
Well, we can talk about that in another episode.
No, but so I was a teen mom, and I think God just really was like had my back then, because my HS was not like really active to where it affected me through pregnancy or postpartum. I had more like cosmetic anxiety back then. I was so terrified to give birth because of my HS between my legs and the scarring. If you've given birth in the hospital before, you know, like the whole team rushes in when it's time to push, and you have all like these strangers looking at you, and you're like, hold on, you're like not on my birthing plan. And it's so awkward, which was why by the 4th kid, I was like, we're gonna do this at home, in my bedroom, very like old school vibes. Do I know if I can give birth without pain medication? Absolutely not. Are we gonna give it a try? Yeah. Absolutely. And I pulled through. It's okay. But postpartum, each time was just like from Leilani on. My 3 after my first was just really, really hard. I only had 1 terrible pregnancy where my HS was like always HSing. I had to go to the emergency room for a couple incision and drainages, 1 behind my ear, a couple that are like on the groin area, to where now I have like a constant, like there's like 3 flares on my bikini line, but like they fill now like 1 big giant flare. So I know I could go for a de-roofing, but it's also one of those things postpartum where it's like, when does mom start prioritizing her again? Yes. Like, when do I start making appointments for myself? When do I start, you know, making sure I have insurance? And I'm still like, I'm 10 and a half months postpartum, and I'm still trying to like find that balance and that normal. I think if anything, I'm giving myself grace because I don't know what it was like before this to be a mom to 4 kids and all of these things. but I'm glad that I'm able to just be honest with my people, and then they're just like, no girl, you need insurance. No girl, you need to take time for yourself. Like, so it's been a little harder this last time, but nothing that, like you said, I haven't done before that I know I won't make it through.
So I hate to break it to you. I'm also postpartum, 18 years.
Period.
And it's still a problem to prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
So that came up repeatedly kind of throughout this week and this weekend is figuring out like how do we as women support other women in making your appointments, in getting checkups, making sure that you're going to the derm and taking care of yourself. Because we don't really have anybody who's kind of like rooting for us and reminding us. We're the reminders of everybody. And we need, like, maybe we can use our sense of community for that.
Yeah. Just even like you said this weekend, I heard you speak about we're not doing regular things we need to do. Like, are we going to the OB/GYN to get, our pap smears? And the amount of women who are not doing that because they have that same fear that I had when I gave birth at 17 is, are they going to judge the scars in between my legs? Do they know what HS is? Do they think I'm gross because that they think it's an STD? And so, yeah, we absolutely need to figure out a way that we're empowering women to make those appointments and go to them. So I know for me, before I got pregnant with Naomi, I used to pride myself on the fact that I had HS everywhere, that it was normal to have HS, besides underneath the breast. And then the devil was like, oh, hold my drink. I get pregnant and I'm like, what's this like DEP looking thing underneath my breast? So I thought it was a blackhead, naturally, as I shouldn't have. I'm like, I can pop it. Couldn't pop it, right? And like through pregnancy, you just see it like evolve into like the flare of all flares. And by the time I had Naomi, it was like de-roofing all by itself. Remember, I was sending you the pictures. She's like, Brindley, do I need to go in? Or she's like, honestly, it's like de-roofing itself. It's like God is good, but not good at the same time. And now I actually am, as we were recording this podcast, finishing up my breastfeeding journey. Got cabbage up in these tatas. Because I had to make the call to stop. Even though like breastfeeding with our kids, it's such a special bond. Like there's nothing that I can even say to express how good it makes you feel to be able to do that for your baby. But there was also not a word to express how terrible it felt to have some little human scratching out my flare.
Relate.
Who doesn't give a single care in the world.
Nope.
Because of course she does know better, but I'm like, girl, like if this was a stranger I would beat her up in the street.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot. So I had to make that decision, and I mean Brindley probably thought it was crazy because like every trip in the last like 5 months I'm like, I'm gonna stop. And she's like, girl, are you okay? Like
And
you
she's
said
like,
that
we need to get a
so
pump.
many times. But it is such a personal journey and decision,
Yes.
and I just want to empower any moms with HS or like women with HS who are thinking about becoming a mom that fed ultimately really is best, and not
You
to
can't
beat
destroy
yourself
your
up.
mental health over it.
Yeah. So I know that was just a little spill into my journey, but because you are so fresh, I'm interested to know how that's working out for you.
Okay, so with Luxley, my 3-year-old at home, I had the same thing happen. I was like, prided myself. I'm like, I have it in all the regular areas except for under my boobs. And then I got one under my boob, and then on the side of my boob, and then like randomly kind of up a little higher. And it was the same thing. I don't get why. Your little baby's like, that's where I'm gonna put my hand, and that's where I'm just gonna go like this with my finger. It's like, girl, of all the places. And it was really hard. I ended up trying every Band-Aid on the face of the planet because it was before I found community and what to use and what not to use. And it was so hard. I ended up going and getting surgery when Luxley was 10 months old, and that helped. And then they did steroid injections into the ones on my boobs, and they cleared up somewhat quickly after that. It was probably another 2 months, and they cleared up. So then with him, I didn't have any when I was pregnant, or before I was pregnant with him, they stayed away. And then as soon as I got pregnant with him, I started getting one specifically under this boob that he's nursing on. and it ended up getting the size of a grape by the time I was like 5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was instantly like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to breastfeed this time.
Yeah.
And it was like soul crushing.
Mm.
Because I'm like, I want to be able to do that. Can I just breastfeed off one boob? Is that possible?
My mom did that, and it was so hard for her because
Yeah.
you're like doubling up on that one side.
Yeah, I was
Then you
like,
have
I'm
to like
gonna
make
be so
the milk disappear on
lopsided.
the other side, and she ultimately ended up getting like losing a breast because of she would get abscesses on the inside of her nipple type.
Oh my gosh.
Which I mean, I wish I could ask her now. Like, girl, you think it was HS, but who knows where, you know. But it's very interesting, and it is soul crushing to have to ask yourself that question, like mid pregnancy, am I going to be able to feed my baby?
Yeah.
And then not, you know, I was not in a position this time to be like, oh, well, we'll just have food stamps and we'll just have WIC. I'm like, oh no, we're just gonna have to pay for formula, and I'm like, oh no, we're gonna figure this out. And then also, I know Brindley. Like she said, she's 18 years postpartum, which is fine. You never stop being a mom. She's an amazing mom to KK. But you also had HS underneath the breast, if you want to shed a little bit of light on that experience.
I did. I've had HS under my breast for a really long time. I honestly don't remember if I had it when I was pregnant with Caitlin. I know that during my pregnancy, my HS basically went into remission, and I decided at that point that I would be pregnant but give the babies to other, like be a surrogate, because I also love the experience of being pregnant, and I was like, oh my god, can I do this full time? But then I actually became a mom, and I was like, no, never mind.
One and done.
Yeah, exactly. But I never got the opportunity to even really breastfeed, so my milk never came in, so it wasn't even on the radar or anything that could happen for me. I didn't know that that was even a thing until it happened. Another wonderful piece of, I also thought that babies came out knowing how to breastfeed.
You would think, like, it's how they
I feel like I've been lied to.
Honestly,
all
May
my
hopped
life.
right on.
See,
The midwife was like, oh.
yeah, Luxley was terrible. She had like tongue ties and cheek ties, and it was a nightmare. And then he came out, and I was like buckled up. I'm like, here we go. I'm going to teach you this skill. We're going to do this. And then he was just like like Kirby, and just he goes. So I don't know. Maybe some babies are just better at it than others.
I don't know. I didn't. Another thing that you like discover as you go, kind of like your HS, and then all of a sudden you find like community, or you get an answer, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't anybody tell me about this?
It's hard.
And then once you start talking about it, you find out it happens more common than not.
Yeah, or like I always find it confusing too that like as a society we're supposed to cover up like entirely while we're breastfeeding. They're like, here's this little baby that doesn't know how to breastfeed. If you're a first time mom, you have no idea what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We are now going to cover all of this, do it blindfolded. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to do this without seeing? I can't. So
That's half the society's pressure, and there's moms now. Like, I really believe there's like this don't give a fuckness that happens after you have multiples, because I promise you, eventually, I mean, you're so fresh, but
oh no, I just whip the kid out everywhere I go
a
now.
couple months, I'm like,
just
yeah, she's not gonna care.
I don't care anymore at all, because I just eventually had to stop, because I'm like, I can't do this without seeing what I'm doing. So now I'm just at the airport, and if someone looks, I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I pop that thing out in church. Like, there's nobody who can judge. Only God can judge me.
Oh my god. How has your HS made showing up as a mom difficult for you?
How hasn't it? I feel like
Okay, maybe the more appropriate question. But I mean, like, what does it impact? Like, in your daily life of showing up as a mom. Like, I know some moms, you know, like, you can't, if you have groin flares, you may not be able to sit on the floor and play with your kids. Picking
them up even. The other day I was flaring, and I was like, I thought I was going to drop her. Honestly. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, girl, that was a close call. Like, oh my god. But in the moment, I was like, okay, like, we can't do this. And I have to ask my kids for help.
Yes.
I think, honestly, like, you have to be okay having help. Or if you know you're like Brindley, and you're like, I can only have one. Like, I hope you have a really good supportive partner because you're gonna need their help.
Yep.
Trying to be super mom and act like there's gonna be days that you're not in pain that you won't need help is an unrealistic expectation. And that's how you get like postpartum depression. That's very hard to shake because when you're not willing to ask for help, when you're not willing to say, hey, I need time today, I'm moving a little slower today, or you're not being realistic with yourself, I know that there's days that I'm in pain, I'm gonna be moving a little slower, so I need to make sure I'm on a schedule and I'm calculating time correctly in a way, you know what I mean? Because I can't just be late to pick up kids from school because I'm like moving slower and I'm flaring. They don't care. They still get out of school at the same time, but I'm gonna make sure I leave a little bit earlier. Or sometimes you're out with your kids and you're doing activities or you're at practices and games and things like that, making sure that I keep my flare care on me, that I'm traveling with my things that I need, like my butt pillow, like things that make my life easier so I can show up for them and be there for them, and also learning when to sit my ass down, you know?
Yes.
So it's being realistic. I call us all the time, we're professional pivoters, you know, like pivot, like Ross said in the episode of Friends, like you have to. We cannot get too concrete and too in our ways and too in our routines because living with a chronic illness is, you never know what's going to happen. So prepare the best way that you can. Don't be too hard on yourself. And just try to be, you know, working on your time management always.
And the guilt too, I think. There's so much guilt because like when you are a first time mom, like for me, I constantly had these little things pop up in which I'm like, whoa, I can't do this. And I didn't think about that. Like the first time we went to the park and she's like, come down the slide with me. And I was like,
No.
girl, no. Like, no. I physically, no. And I just stood there and I felt like such a bad mom. I'm like, what kind of mom can't go down a slide with her kid?
The kind of mom with a pillow cyst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
And a lot of you get the pillow cyst after giving birth. I remember getting that cyst days after. I was still in the hospital. Just gave birth to Bobo. I was telling her I was in all this pain in my rectum. I'm like, did I break my tailbone when I pushed the baby out? Because I thought that's what it was. It wasn't until I was home for like 3 days and it kept getting more inflamed. I was like, this is not normal. So I had to get it drained. But I dare not ever go down a slide at a park. Not even a water slide, honestly, at a water park.
Yeah, and it's just learning that like your kid's gonna be okay. They're fine if you can't go down the slide. You can do something else. I just looked at her and I was like, no girl, no, I'm not going down the slide, but how about we go over there by the bench and we play in the sand because that's a better time for mom. And she was just like, okay, sweet. Let's go do that. Like I sometimes think we get in our own heads too. That our kids are gonna be like upset.
She
that
ruined my
mom
childhood.
Yeah, like my mom wouldn't go down the slide with me, and my mom sometimes can't play on the floor. Like they don't care.
And the truth is, your kids don't know any better.
That's all
They
they
just know you as a parent, and you are enough for your kids exactly how you are.
Agreed.
So that kind of leads into my next question: is how do you deal with like talking to Lux and your boys and Leilani, because Nay's too little. But how do you guys deal with talking to your kids about when you're flaring?
I got from you. You guys were like, we call them ouchies in my house, and I was like, ooh, I like that. So now that's a word that like my younger to like the toddlers can resonate with, and they're like, what? I get ouchies all the time. Mom has ouchies. She gets those. She's not invincible. I'm like, yeah. I let my kids, I'm very vulnerable to my children. I let them see me cry. I let them see me doing my flare care. I'm what we call like a naked mom, you know, like they've seen me getting all this, like they know, they see my scars. They know obviously like I'm not got this perfect glass skin. Like all these scars used to really hurt a lot. So it's just having a level of honesty, I think, with them. I think right now in society, there's a lot of pressure to like, be your perfect Pinterest mom, you know? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not that it. I'm not it. That's not me. My kids still love me though.
Yeah, I am the exact same way, and so I also find too, it extends into other areas of life so easily, like being postpartum. Right after I had him, Lexi's like trying to climb all over me, and we're just like, Mama has an owie tummy. We cannot be leaning on her like this. And she instantly got it. It wasn't a new concept. She's like, oh yeah, there's just lots of times I can't touch mommy or be rough with her. So it was just like an easy.
Mm-hmm.
They get that. So I feel like she's gonna grow up being really good at people's boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the other piece too is that we're teaching our children empathy and compassion and how to treat other people when they're in pain or hurting, which I think is something that is not taught enough to kids anymore, which it's something really, really beautiful. And how to make sure that your kids understand how to be a caretaker of someone is a really important thing too, because everyone in the world needs a caretaker, and sometimes it's not their job obviously to be a caretaker of their parent at a young age like that, but they need to have those skills, and doing it for, can you please help me by getting a glass of water, or asking for what it is that you need. You're also teaching them how to do that for themselves.
Yes. Because I think sometimes just because we have HS, we think that it has to look different or be different, when really, if there was a mom with epilepsy, if there was a mom with cancer, if there was a mom with anything else that is so commonly known about, their kids would know what to do to help them in case of need. Like if your mom is having, has seizures all the time, you know what to do for her. You know how to put her on her side and put the pillow, you know what I mean? So because it's normal when it's talked about. So we just have to get loud about the things that moms with HS may need, and eventually it's going to be normal and talked about, and there's going to be all of these children of moms or fathers with HS that, just like you said, they're compassionate, they're empathetic, they're not going to go to school and be bullies. I think even just in sharing my journey, I even talk to my nieces and nephews different. I pick them up and go, kids just always have something to say. I'm like, if you don't have anything positive to say about anything, you don't say anything at all. Like, oh, Auntie, but we were in gym class and he stinks. Like, you don't know what they have. They could have hyperhidrosis. They could not be able to put on deodorant. They could have HS. Like, would you guys say that to me? No?
Yeah.
That's corruption.
Do you think that's what they're choosing?
Yes. And granted, everybody has their own thing.
Yeah.
But just like we said earlier in our episode before this, is like, people are going to think what they want to think about you. Let them. What you have the power to control. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the other point I would make is to feel, and this is a personal choice, but I've always been the naked mom in front of my kids. And I feel like my younger ended up having HS, right? But she had seen me never be embarrassed of my body in front of her. And my hope was that if she ended up with HS in the long run, that she would feel the same about herself. And of course, there's been, issues with body positivity just with the nature of being a teenager and all of that. But I feel like it was a form of empowerment, not only for me to not be ashamed of my body, but also hoping that she would not be ashamed of her body either.
And she has moments, probably, but I can tell it's nowhere as deep as you may think, if it even is a problem. Because I've seen KK in a tank top, I've seen KK in shorts, and that already is like so far ahead of like what we were doing, at her age. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I just stopped wearing cardigans. Right after I had my surgery, 6 years ago or something. Like, I wore cardigans my entire life. I would never be seen in a tank top without a cardigan. And she's already just like, man, fuck it. Here I am. Like it, love it, lump it, doesn't matter. So I think there is something really powerful about that, really subconsciously even. So
she's doing a great job. You're doing a great job. We're all doing
thanks.
A great
Yes,
we are.
That's right. Everybody, all the moms doing the best they can.
Yes.
With where they are, with what they have. And that's just called life.
Yes.
So, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode, and we will see you next time.
Bye.